Hey guys, thanks for watching the Humanist Report. So I am off this week. We'll be back next Thursday with a new episode. However, I will continue to be posting videos daily. I wanted to give you guys my take on the fourth GOP debate. So now, when it comes to winners and losers, I'll go ahead and get to that first. I'll also kind of address kind of the general things that I picked up on, and then I'll kind of get into the individual candidates and how I thought they performed. So first and foremost, the individual who I thought performed the best and who was the overall winner is actually someone who has not won yet. I think that the winner this time is Rand Paul. Now, I'm excited to say this because out of all of the candidates, I think that Rand Paul is the one Republican that I agree with the most. So, for example, I thought that he did a great job at explaining why we should not increase military spending. And I think that when it comes to his confrontation with Marco Rubio, when they kind of went head-to-head on this issue, I can't really tell who won that dispute. If you kind of base it on the crowd, well, it kind of seems like Marco Rubio came out on top, but overall, I think that Rand Paul defended himself pretty well. I thought that he absolutely destroyed Donald Trump when it comes to the TPP, because Donald Trump was railing against it, but he wasn't naming any specifics, and he kept implying that China had something to do with it. And when Rand Paul stated that China's not part of the TPP, that was just... I felt the embarrassment for Donald Trump. That was not a good look. Also, I thought that he explained why the no-fly zone in Syria is such a bad idea. And this is great because Hillary Clinton is also in favor of a no-fly zone. So I like that he actually broke this down. He's 100% correct. Now, I like that he also stated that he wouldn't arm any of the rebels because we don't really know what we're getting ourselves into. He had a lot more energy this time. Well, I don't want to say he had a lot more energy, but he had more energy than last time. And furthermore, I think that he actually was able to perform better when you compare him against the other candidates. So, for example, when you juxtapose him against Donald Trump, I think that he was able to kind of embarrass Donald Trump. And these are the types of moments you want to look for, because, I mean, these are the things that really stick out in your mind. So I think that's important. So now, when it comes to the biggest loser of the debate, I'm going to have to give it to Jeb Bush. I feel as though, once again, for 2 debates in a row, he was the biggest loser. He didn't smile at first when he was being introduced, and he let Kasich walk all over him. He let Trump kind of put him in his place when he tried to interrupt Donald Trump. And he tried to come off as more imperialistic this time. Now, I don't think that's going to do anything to excite the base or move him up in the polls. Now, furthermore, one of the lines stood out to me that was pretty insignificant when he was talking about some guy named Reagan Love, and he stated, well, that's a great name. I literally just heard one clap from the audience. Just one clap. So, I mean, this dude is not doing anything to really excite the base. So, that's kind of my take on winner and loser. So Rand Paul, biggest winner, and Jeb Bush, the biggest loser. Now, when it comes to kind of my general take on the debate, it was a little bit frustrating for me because the moderators this time were heavily biased towards Republicans. So, for example, the moderator stated that Social Security income is rushing towards insolvency, when that's completely false. I've stated numerous times that Social Security is solvent until 2033, and then when we transition into 2016, it will then be solvent until 2034. So this is a false narrative that's been perpetuated for decades because they want people to not feel confident in Social Security, and if they don't feel confident, then they won't like the program. So younger people, such as my generation, millennials, if we don't have confidence in the program, then we'll probably be more inclined to want to repeal the program in general, and that's what they want. They want to undermine our trust in it, so that way it appears as though we're going to be putting in money and we're not going to get it back. So we're basically being robbed, but that's not the case. So I hate that no moderator has yet to call out any of the candidates on this. Now, furthermore, I like how Neil Cavuto stated that Carson's campaign was built on trust. Really? It's built on trust? He has lied so much. I mean, Ben Carson has proven to be a pathological liar. I don't see how, by any stretch of the imagination, even if you're a conservative, you could state that his campaign is built on trust. I mean, he's lied about every aspect of his identity. So I love how basically they were just throwing these candidates softballs. Now, one thing that really stood out to me was the biggest issues that were, I guess, alleged by Facebook or whatever, what people were talking about the most. Now, one of the biggest issues was campaign finance. Did they discuss it? Absolutely not. Will they ever discuss it in the Republican debates? Who knows, but I'm guessing probably not. And also, I thought that it was really idiotic of the crowd to boo when the moderator stated that Hillary has a impressive resume. Look, I'm not a big fan of Hillary Clinton, but to deny that she has an impressive resume is insane. I mean, she was the first lady. She was a senator from New York. She was Secretary of State. I think that alone, it does qualify her to be president. Now, she's not the best candidate. I disagree with her on a lot. But I'm just stating that from the standpoint of experience and qualifications, well, I think that it's odd to boo her, and it just kind of shows that they can't really be objective and state that even though they're against Hillary Clinton, well, they can't just say, well, at least she's qualified. We know that. No. Come on, man. So that kind of bugged me. Now, okay, so I'm going to get into the individual candidates. So I'm going to try to keep this quick. So when it comes to Donald Trump, I think that this was probably his worst performance yet. Now, I don't necessarily think he did bad, but I do think that he was more low energy. I think that he absolutely botched the minimum wage question in the beginning because basically he just stated that we don't win. I don't know how that answers the question. And he also stated that wages are too high and that people don't work hard enough. Well, that's completely bogus. I mean, the wages are so low, hence the reason why income inequality is such a big problem. And furthermore, Americans work way harder than almost any other modern industrialized country. We take less vacations. We work longer hours per day, per week, per year. So that's just absolutely bogus, and it shows you how out of touch he is because he's an oligarch, he's a billionaire. So his concept of work, it's irrelevant because he hasn't really had to work hard at all. So now, furthermore, I'm kind of getting tired of the wall thing. We're going to build a wall, we're going to win. I mean, it's just tired at this point. He said the same thing over and over and over and over, and I don't think that it's going to help him anymore if he just keeps repeating the same thing. Now, I like that he was against the TPP, but the problem with Donald Trump is that he can't actually articulate why he's against the TPP. He stated that, oh, well, China's going to take advantage of us. But, I mean, as Rand Paul correctly stated out, China's not part of the TPP. So, I mean, does he not like the fact that, we are forming a trade agreement with human rights abusers, such as Malaysia, such as Brunei? Does he not like the investor dispute settlement mechanism in there, where you basically give corporations the ability to strike down our laws if they disagree with it? I mean, he needs to be more specific, and furthermore, he makes these really sweeping claims, such as the Iran deal is the worst deal ever, or Hillary Clinton is the worst Secretary of State ever, but he never actually provides any examples to back these up. Not even an anecdote, no statistics, no nothing. So I think that he is basically showing that he's just full of gas, full of hot air. Now, I like what he said about foreign policy when he stated that we should let Putin fight ISIS. I think this is good. I mean, we don't need to get involved and intervene in every single situation in the world, and I like that he said that we should not be the policeman of the world. This is something that I agree with. But overall, I do think that Donald Trump is pooping out, not to the extent that I think it's going to really substantially harm his campaign, but I do think that his the losing of energy is slowly but surely leading to a gradual decline in the polls as we see Ben Carson overtake him. Now, when it comes to Ben Carson, I don't think that he did too well. I mean, he didn't really speak that much. He answered the question of raising the minimum wage well. I thought that he explained why he didn't want to raise minimum wage in a manner that was easy to digest, even though I disagree with him. But he just flip-flopped on it because all the other candidates are against it. Well, now he's against it. So it just kind of shows you that Ben Carson, you don't know what's up with the guy. Now, when it comes to Marco Rubio, I don't think he performed as well as last time. I think that he answered the question on minimum wage well. I like that in general he tries to use more positive rhetoric that, our greatest days are ahead and whatnot. I think that this is going to actually kind of set him apart from the other candidates because all the other candidates try to paint the picture that, where there's so much threats in the world, America has such a weak military and that everything is bad right now. But I think that Marco Rubio is able to kind of differentiate himself by stating, no, we still are a great country. Now, he kind of does this by stating that Democrats have the same old tired ideas of the past, but Marco Rubio doesn't realize that, well, he has tired ideas. I mean, deregulation, trickle-down economics, these are things that have led to the Great Depression, the Great Recession. I mean, trickle-down Reaganomics, this is a thoroughly debunked economic theory. It doesn't work. And to say that Democrats are the one with an outdated, tired theory, well, I think it's pretty ironic. Now, when it comes to John Kasich, I thought that he performed pretty well in the beginning, but then he kind of petered out. He keeps saying the same thing. He keeps bragging about how well he's doing in in Ohio. But this isn't working really well, so he needs to flip it up. He needs to propose something that will excite the base. Now, he also talked about increasing defense, and I'm so sick of the candidates talking about this. And I like that Rand Paul actually really challenged him on this. Now, I think that he won against Trump when it comes to immigration because he stated that deporting 11 million immigrants is impossible, and that's just not an adult argument. So I agree with Kasich here. Now, I like that he talked about the greed on Wall Street. However, he made a statement pretty much akin to Hillary Clinton when she said, I told Wall Street they need to cut it out. Well, what he stated that I thought was similar was that Wall Street needs an ethics lesson to keep them in check. Well, no, Wall Street doesn't need someone to tell them to cut it out. They don't need someone to give them an ethics lesson. They need to be regulated. That's the only way. You're naive to think that words will actually translate into action. Now, when it comes to Ted Cruz, I think that basically a lot like last time, he was kind of a non-entity. He didn't do anything to really stand out. And one thing that bugs me about him is he's such a smarmy politician. I say smarmy every time I talk about Ted Cruz because it's so true. When basically the first question that he was asked, his first response was,
"Well, the question you asked is the most important question."
It's like, dude, stop. Like, can you just be a human? I mean, the way that Rand Paul talks and it's completely different from the way that Ted Cruz talks. It's annoying. So let's see. Now, when it comes to Carly Fiorina, I think that this is probably her worst performance as well, because she did nothing new. She brought nothing new to the table. She started talking about, performing military exercises in the Baltic states and whatnot. So, in essence, she wants to initiate World War III with Russia. And, I mean, look, you can tell that she's not doing as well as she once was in the polls, and I think that's because she's not bringing anything new to the table. She's not able to innovate. Now, I thought that it was really cringeworthy when Donald Trump exclaimed, "Why does she keep interrupting everybody?" Like, I actually, had a physical reaction to that. Like, it reminded me of, kids in elementary school, complaining about each other, interrupting one another. I don't know who the cringe is on more, if Donald Trump made that more cringy for me or if Carly Fiorina did. But it was pretty embarrassing. So overall, Rand Paul, as I stated, the biggest winner. Some other winners, I think, were probably... I'm going to count Rubio as a winner. I'm probably going to count Trump as kind of a winner. I'll put Trump in maybe third place, Rubio in second place, tied with Kasich. So it's Rand Paul, and then in second place, it's Rubio and Kasich tied for me, and then in third place, it's going to be Trump. Biggest loser, definitely Bush. Some other losers, I think probably Ben Carson, but I don't necessarily think that he did anything to hurt himself. And also, I'm going to put Carly Fiorina in this category as well. So that is my take. I will be back on, I believe it's Saturday, whatever the day is, to record my reaction to the second Democratic debate. So it will be, unfortunately, only an audio version again, because as I stated at the beginning of the video, I am off for the week. I've got a lot to catch up on with school. It's getting towards the end of the quarter, so I'm in crunch time right now, so I can't really take out the time, but I mean, I will continue to update the channel with a video almost every single day.